Make the most out of summer with the ultimate staycation. Top picks right here in the Mile High City from world traveler Gabe Saglie. And you got to do your part this summer. We got to save some water. Tips on how to reduce your usage by 20%. And the power of words, a really moving production that's now playing at the DCPA. How to get your tickets. Colorado & Company starts right now.
Portions of Colorado & Company contain paid content.
Good friends, gonna get you through the day. Good friends.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on Colorado & Company. It happens to everyone. You remember this feeling? You wake up and you just don't feel quite like yourself. This happens to me every morning. And I wonder, and you are wondering, if there's a drug-free way to address, maybe even ease, the symptoms of what? Anxiety, depression, just like panic for a lot of people. So Nick Tverdik from ARIA Integrative Health, he's here to share more about something I've tried, which he's been so kind to help me with. It's called ExoMind. It's doing wonders. Hi, Nick.
Hello.
Hello. Tell us more about ExoMind and how does it feel? What does it feel like when you're on it?
So the core technology, I'm going to jump right in. But
Yeah.
We've been around for 15 years. We're on our 16th year actually on Colorado & Company. We've treated 17,000 patients. We are a functional regenerative medicine clinic first and foremost. We just happen to have all the technology.
Yeah.
And we're one of the principal investigators for the IRB clinical trials for the FDA for ExoMind. We feel very blessed to be able to be part of that. But we're able to actually change mental wellness unlike anything that we've seen before. It's called TMS. The core technology is called TMS.
Which I've heard before. It's been around.
So this is ExoTMS. This is the really second generation of TMS. A lot of people have never heard of this technology, and as you can see, it's a very comfortable
I just sleep.
treatment. Yeah, most people take naps during the treatment. The old technology had a lot of problems, and when I say that, we've had this tech for 40 years. There's been 20,000 peer-reviewed white papers out there showing the efficacy and the safety of it. However, it was a big problem for both clinicians because a patient has to come once a day for 36 days straight.
Yeah, that's hard.
Right? That is hard. So patient compliance was difficult. It could be claustrophobic, it could be uncomfortable, even painful in some circumstances. Fast forward 40 years and enter ExoTMS, which is what is part of ExoMind, and we're around that 6 times more efficient now. So we're seeing neuroplasticity in a way that we've never been able to stimulate with zero pain, zero downtime, zero negative side effects. So we're able to shrink down these treatment protocols into a much faster period, and the results that we're seeing for patients with depression, anxiety, PTSD, some of the heavier things, also emotional eating. If you just don't feel quite right, we want to get to the root cause of what's going on. We treat a lot of perimenopausal and menopausal women. Now,
Thanks for bringing that up, because many people don't even bring that up.
a lot of people just sweep it under the rug.
Totally.
And you're not crazy.
Yeah, right.
There's things going on, and we actually want to get to the root cause. We're full functional medicine. So if somebody in perimenopause or postmenopause has some of this anxiety or depression, we want to get to the root cause, which can be some hormonal imbalances. So we do a lot of bioidentical hormone optimization with patients, full functional medicine, gut optimization. So we're really taking a look at the whole picture
very
of
holistic.
each individual patient, but the utilization of technology is where we're able to show people such dramatic results so quickly.
Yeah, because I was on one neural pathway. I've been very honest with everybody about my mental health, and like opening that neural pathway into other pathways just gives you such relief, which is amazing. I think most of us have heard about biofeedback, because that's been around. Is this different?
Good question. So biofeedback is really trying to accomplish what ExoMind is doing.
Okay, so it's a poser.
Yeah, well, no, it has a place, and it could do some very cool things for mapping.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is actually forcing neuroplasticity.
Okay.
So the video that you saw a little bit earlier, the device, it's called TMS, which is transcranial magnetic stimulation, goes right over your left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. And what we're doing is we're forcing new neuroplasticity. So what we're doing is we're stimulating the neurons in the actual brain to send out new dendrites. So if you think about, I always like to use this example. let's say you're a middle schooler, and you get picked on and bullied, and you go home and you feel the shame and embarrassment.
I've been there.
Most of us have,
Yeah.
right? My daughter just went through some of this, right? So how do we make sure that this is actually being corrected? But you go home and you go to your mom and you're crying. And she's like, "Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. Let's bake a cake." And then later on in the week, "Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. It happens again. Let's bake some cookies." And then next week it's let's go get some ice cream.
You're paving that neural pathway, man.
Right? So now when you're in middle school, 11, 12 years old, you have this beautiful highway network of 1,000 different highway lanes that you can drive your car down. You get this stimuli and you have this emotional response and you have all these different options. Well, what happens is it just got drilled towards sugar and food as the response. Well, what's so amazing about the brain is it wants to be as efficient as possible. Whether that pathway is good for you or not, it doesn't matter. It prioritizes what's been fed. So then you turn 25, 30 years old, and that beautiful 1,000 different highway lanes that you could have driven down, it's one or two, and it's a logjam. It is back to back, bumper to bumper. What we're doing with ExoMind is we're breaking those chains and we're rebuilding that highway network again. So now when you experience that shame, that trauma, embarrassment, whatever it may be, now we can choose a better
different
pathway,
one.
and we can now start to strengthen what is good for us. So in a big summation, neuroplasticity is mental wellness. And that's what we're doing with this. It's not just treating the heavy anxiety, depression, it's absolute gold standard for. But if you're not sleeping, if you have poor stress response, we all have our stuff. Every single one of us, we can just make things better.
Infrastructure for the brain.
Infrastructure for the brain.
I like that. Okay, let's hear from actually a patient because I think that always helps people personalize it. This is Denise and Twain Wilkins. Take a listen.
One of the constant companions with Hashimoto is depression. And I've suffered with that for years. I've tried antidepressants and they might work for a little while, but not for long. So the ExoMind, having that therapy treatment here at ARIA has been life-changing for me. The very first treatment I had, Nick could see that I was not great in my headspace. I felt very chaotic, very frantic, just trying to get through the appointments here that day. And he says, "Do you have 30 minutes? Come on." When the treatment was over, I came downstairs. I felt like all of the chaos and frantic feelings had left my body.
I see the happiness in her that I haven't seen for a long time because of these treatments. And it's something that we're continuing because we're seeing the progress and we're seeing the positive progress that makes her feel better, and which makes me happier.
Happy wife, happy life. Well, Nick, thank you so much to your team at ARIA Integrative Health. Please ask about the brand new ExoMind treatment. We want to see that. Nick's offering up to 30% off select services right now. So call. There's a free consultation, no harm done, 303-953-2899, or go online at ariaintegrativehealth.com. Thank you for treating me as well. They sponsored today's segment. Now, when I say the name Gabe Saglie, chances are you see him just like this, you know, like doing hula on a beach, chilling out. Guess what, y'all? Today, he's in the Mile High City, baby! His top Denver picks on the other side of the break. Yeah, Gabe? Colorado and Company viewers are very familiar with our next guest. He's been to Ireland, Las Vegas, the Bahamas, and so many more amazing travel destinations. In fact, I think he does have the best job in the world. Now he's adding Denver to that list. We're meeting each other in person for the first time. Welcome, travel expert Gabe Saglie, everybody.
All right.
So
what a treat to be here. You know, what a great reminder of the kind of ground we've covered over the years. We've been, Ireland was probably the most recent because I had been to St. Patrick's Day out there for the last 15 years,
What
you know,
fun.
and it's a great gig. But but I do love Denver. I really have got, you know, as a family, this is one of our favorite destinations as a family of 5. And it's always great to be back. back in the Mile High City.
Way to pump up our city. Okay, what are some fun things we can look forward to this summer in Denver?
So this is when I'm out in the rest of the country promoting Denver, I'm talking about gig tripping, which is one of these new trends that we're following in the travel space. This idea that you're looking at a festival or a concert or a sporting event and building a vacation around it. So I think a lot of the festivals that are on the calendar for Denver over the next couple of months will lend themselves to that. And of course, if you're a local, you've got some wonderful events to look forward to. Outdoor Days is back for its third year. That's happening at the end of this month. A lot of outdoor gear, live concerts, adventure films. Of course, all of June is Pride Month here, but of course it culminates on June 28th, taking over a new spot downtown along 16th Street. More than 500,000 people expected to descend on Denver for that. A lot of energy and color. And the Cherry Creek Arts Festival, back for its 35th year in the first couple of days of July as well in the Cherry Creek North neighborhood. So that's going to be hundreds of artists and just a wonderful family-friendly event. So for folks who are elsewhere in the country looking at maybe coming into Denver, picking one of these festivals or the myriad sporting events that are on the calendar is a perfect excuse to then build a vacation around that.
That's amazing. I bought some really good art at the Cherry Creek Art Festival. It's
Yeah,
stunning.
it's amazing
really
talent.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
very good talent. Now, you can't be in Colorado without stopping at Red Rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about it. What's going on there?
So big year for Red Rocks. It's the 85th anniversary of the amphitheater there, which of course itself is a geological marvel.
It's
you know,
amazing.
people are fascinated by the fact that you've got these fossilized dinosaur prints here that date back 300 million years.
And you're like rocking out.
And yet it's this wonderful natural space around which we've built this, world-class performing arts center. So 10,000 seats flanked by these 300-foot red sandstone rock formation. So amazing acoustics, but just this wonderful, amazing ambiance. So when you look at traveling to a concert,
Yes.
Is it hard to beat a place like Red Rocks Amphitheater. And a great lineup coming up this summer. You got Paul Simon, you've got Rod Stewart, Hilary Duff, Alex Warren, Yo-Yo Ma, and again, so different genres there. And of course, starting later this month, the weekly yoga events at the Rocks is also fantastic. You got films. So it's a wonderful venue that I think this year, again, with the 85th anniversary, sheds a spotlight on this very special event. And then, of course, it's the kinds of activities and performances and names coming to Red Rock this summer, quite impressive.
Paul Simon, that's all you had to say. I'm
Right?
so in.
Yeah.
All right, why would you say Denver, if you had to pitch it, why would you say Denver is just such a great travel destination?
So I live in Los Angeles, and so for me, for example, looking at something as easy as just landing at the airport, hopping on a train for $10, and half an hour later being at Union Station, where I can then walk to my hotel, walk to a restaurant, walk to a show, walk to a sporting event, is hard to come by. I mean, in Los Angeles, I love LA, but you don't have that kind of facility.
Yeah, that's right.
So just the basics of being able to get into the core of where the buzz is in a city like Denver is great. I love the pedestrian friendliness of downtown Denver. So the fact that oftentimes we're just really covering a lot of ground on foot without having to hop in a car. In fact, I haven't rented a car in the last several trips that we've come out here as a family. And I love the fact that this is really, at the end of the day, a mosaic of these wonderful, eclectic neighborhoods.
Yeah, I agree.
And you go to Rhino, and my family and I were walking a couple of months ago just looking at the stores behind these beautiful murals. You go to the Low-High neighborhood, some fantastic eating. I mean, some of the restaurants there I think are some of my favorite places to eat in the country.
I mean, Michelin-starred restaurants.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got more than 30 Michelin star or Michelin recommended restaurants in this wonderful little accessible hub. So from a culinary standpoint and just from the accessibility to me, Denver is just increasingly tougher to beat.
It really is. And
Yeah.
the craft beer, let's talk about,
Indeed.
Yeah, let's talk about
Right.
that. So earlier you mentioned that Colorado is something called a soft adventure. I don't know these terms.
Yeah.
What do the cool kids say? Like, what does that mean?
So soft adventure is another one of these trends that we're looking at in the travel space. I think it's certainly post-pandemic, it's become something that increasingly is more appealing to people. This idea that, listen, I want to get out of my comfort zone.
Right.
I want to connect with nature, but I'm not ready to rappel off the side of a mountain
That's me.
or jump off an airplane.
This is me.
So it's this idea of sort of more approachable, physical activity. environmental immersion, if you will. And so I'm outside my comfort zone, exploring in nature. It's digital detox, but again, within a confined space that's more approachable. 65% of what we call adventure trips now are in this soft adventure space. So hiking and biking, again, the 5,000 plus acres of sort of park space and open space here in Denver lend themselves perfectly for that. We love to come in here in the winter time and do the Winter Park Express, where we're in Denver as our home base, but we're taking that day trip up to Winter Park and doing that little bit of soft adventure, coming down the mountain on the skis, and then getting back on the train and coming back into the city for dinner or a show. So that the idea of soft adventure is being able to tap Mother Nature, but in a more accessible way. And I think Denver's locality, its access to even places like Rocky, to the national parks, makes it just a particularly great spot for this soft adventure movement.
Y'all hear all that? Look how good our city is, huh? Well, keep up with Gabe on all of his adventures. Follow him on social media. His handle is @Gabe Saglie. We are so honored that you came and visit us. Thanks for coming in. Absolutely. Well, words have impact, and there's this production that will make you think a lot about what you say. After the break, I cannot wait to chat with one of the actors from English. Stay tuned for that.
The following interview involves commercial content. The products and services featured appear as paid advertising.
So communication is something we all rely on, but it can also tear us apart, as we have seen in recent years and all of this. So this all was explored in this production. It's called English. It's now playing at the Mile High City. Shadi Vasugi, that's right, I got it right, from the production. She's here on the Cocoa Couch. I'm honored to have you here. All right, so Shadi, for those who aren't familiar, just tell us a little bit about English, the production.
Okay, so it's a play set in Iran, and it focuses on 4 students, adult learners, who are learning English in an English language class.
Got it.
There's a teacher named Marjan, and that's basically like the surface level of it. Underneath all of that is themes of identity, connection, belonging, like what is gained and what is lost in translation. So that's kind of the quick version of what it's about.
That sounds incredibly interesting and explosive, especially like right now. Again, I can't just emphasize how much communication is so vastly important and interesting. Tell us more about your character. It's called Goli?
Goli,
Okay, tell us about Goli.
Goli is, she's 18, so she's the youngest one in the class. It ranges from like 18 to like 50s or something.
Got it.
And she's vibrant, and she's bold, and she's funny. She's very optimistic and hopeful, but it doesn't seem like it's in a naive way. I feel like she chooses to be optimistic. But there is a lot of still vulnerability and trying to connect with people. She's still figuring out who she is. That's good.
That's a really good character to get your.
It's a really nice character to live inside of.
Totally, and that optimism is so important.
I've learned a lot.
Yeah, I was like, I needed some of that.
I've learned a lot.
True. Let's ask you. I want to ask you the most challenging part of production, and also, what do you love most about it? Let's start with the challenging.
Okay, so I would say the challenging part of this production in rehearsal process was the language switches, the dialect switches. So there is a special effect that we have in this play. It's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. But basically when we're speaking, when we're speaking with an accent, when we're speaking English with an accent, it means we're speaking English.
Okay.
When we're speaking English without an accent, it means we're speaking Persian.
Oh, wow.
So as to show, like right now, how I'm talking to you really easy, it's like I'm speaking Persian. I'm speaking my native tongue.
Got it.
But if I talk like this,
I see.
It is me speaking English. So that switch is really good for the audience to know what we're saying, and also to witness the struggle of switching languages. But for the actor, you're like, well, I'm speaking English this whole time.
Yeah, right.
So something I would do in the rehearsal process is I'd go home and I'd deliver some of my text that's supposed to be in English in like Spanish.
Oh, smart.
And I try to just see, what does it feel like to be searching for words, to feel the discomfort in my body.
Totally.
So that part was challenging. And then the other part that's challenging, but also my favorite part, is Sanaz is writing. Sanaz Tusi is the playwright, Pulitzer Prize winning play, Tony nominated.
Yes!
She is a genius, I think. She's a master, and she's written almost like a piece of music.
Oh, wow.
And it feels like chamber music in that there is subtlety in her text, there is nuance to her text, there is, if you push too hard emotionally, it might feel flat or sharp.
Right.
The humor. So for me, it's like being precise in her, following her notes, you know, and you just want to nail it, you know, and she makes it easy. It's a great play.
When you have a great playwright, you want to nail each word.
I love her.
Yeah, and like the pacing kind of reminds you of music. Yeah, that's
yes,
so
everything. So it's really important for all of us to be like on top of our switches and our language, and that when we're listening, that we're hearing things, remembering we're hearing it in a different language than.
That is hard.
It is hard, but it's so fun.
But it's
so
a good
fun.
challenge for an actor, I imagine. Okay, this play focuses on something we use everyday language. But would you say that language can, I guess what I would say is, does it have a double-edged sword? What do you think about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that, language has the power to empower us, make us feel seen.
Make us fall in love.
Make us fall in love.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that.
Yeah, a little bit of love.
There's a little bit of love. There's a little bit of love in the play. It's not me, but I watch it. But it also has the power to exclude.
Yes.
And make you feel small and feel like you can't express yourself. And I think that's what this play does so well. Is if you've learned a second language, if that's something that's part of your experience.
Which first off is just amazing that you can do that.
Already,
Anybody who does
anybody who is multilingual, you can relate to this. But also, if you've never done that, you can see what it takes, especially if you're an adult learner, when you know who you are and you can't express that and people don't know how to receive you because you don't,
the frustration.
It's so fascinating. So we've had audience members come up to us from all different parts of the world. We had a German woman coming up to us crying once, like, I feel seen. So
there's bravery in that. There's bravery.
A lot of
especially as an
courage.
adult,
A lot of
having to do
courage.
that.
You have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, you
and
really do.
sometimes, when I speak Farsi at home, I don't feel like speaking it because I'm like, I don't feel like embarrassing myself today.
For sure. It's like, I don't want to work that hard.
I just want to tell you what I'm thinking.
Right.
But yeah, so it's
Amazing.
really cool.
Well, people, I'm so excited for you all to watch it. English is now playing over at the Singleton Theater at the Denver Center for the Performing Arts. Get your tickets, as we talked about before on camera. They are selling out. So get your tickets now. It's at denvercenter.org. They sponsor today's segment. Shadi, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Really
much for having me.
amazing idea, too. Can't wait to see it. All right, guys, we're moving on to strokes, okay? A stroke can happen very fast, but knowing the warning signs could save a life. And you think you know, but you don't know. So when Colorado and Company returns, the symptoms you should never, ever ignore. Stay tuned for that.
The following interview involves commercial content. The products and services featured appear as paid advertising.
Thanks for staying with us on Colorado and Company. It's time for an important, healthy Colorado conversation. All right, so the saying goes, time is brain. And when it comes to a stroke, every single second counts. I've dealt with this with my mom personally, so I know that it means a lot. But do you know the signs? Joining us now is Dr. Wesley Reynolds. He specializes in neurology with Common Spirit Health at St. Anthony Hospital. Hi, Doc.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm very honored to have you here. I think this is vital information. So tell the people, what does time is brain mean? And why does every single, half a second can count with those clockbusters?
So for a stroke that is a medical emergency, we think of it as a brain attack. We have a disruption of blood flow to the brain. And every second that happens with that blood flow disruption, we lose brain cells. And so it's vital to get to the hospital and get treatment when someone having signs of a stroke, so we can try to intervene and try to open those pathways up and save brain cells and potentially save function.
Yeah, and you can save a life by just not ignoring the signs, which we're going to talk to. This is something everyone should know, so listen up. Dr. Wesley, tell the viewers the key warning signs of a stroke that people, and I mean this, be pushy when this happens. Do not ignore it. Be pushy. Think of me saying be pushy. Tell us about those.
So we have an easy acronym to remember the warning signs of stroke. It's called B-FAST, B-E-F-A-S-T. So
B-FAST.
B stands for balance, so any difficulty walking or balance. E stands for eyes, so vision changes, loss of vision, double
I didn't know
vision.
that. Okay.
The F stands for face, so people typically describe kind of a facial droop.
I make people smile or something, right?
Exactly. A stands for arms, so arms and legs.
Okay.
So if you can't move one side, have weakness in an arm or leg, or can't feel an arm or leg. S stands for speech, so difficulty speaking, slurred speech, or any other speech changes that you may see. And then time, which is the most important, it's time to call 911 because time is brain.
Yes, exactly. So if you see someone, you say smile, and one half of their face is not, or even a little bit, it's time to call, am I right?
Exactly.
Okay, important. Now, some people want to just like, they don't want to deal with the ambulance cost. I get it, the affordability, but why do you call 911 like that? Why do you get an ambulance instead of just driving?
So when you call 911 and you get an ambulance, you go to the front of the line.
Yeah, you do.
It allows us to be prepared for you coming, and it allows us to get everything ready for you so we can save time, because really it is time is brain, and so every second that we can save is important. And it also helps us assess things like your blood pressure and other things that can be looked at in the field by the paramedics.
Wow, that's so important, guys. Remember, be pushy. You're gonna hear my voice over and over. Strokes, my mom had several strokes. She was an older adult, of course, but they can happen to younger people. Is that true?
Absolutely. So strokes do mostly happen in older people, but they are happening in younger people as well. And I think that's one of the things that we see is younger people think, oh, I can't be having a stroke.
Right, right.
But anyone that has the signs of a stroke, weakness, numbness, difficulty speaking, they could be having a stroke, and it's time to call 911 and not just say, oh, I think I'm going to see how this happens and see if it gets better. No, we want you to come on in, let us check you out, and see if we can treat your stroke.
And the worst thing that can happen is, okay, you don't have a stroke, you can move, but I mean that's the best thing. But the worst thing is you miss it and you just don't have the time. You don't get the time.
Absolutely. I've seen countless patients that think it's just going to get better, and then a couple of days later they come in and we're like, well, we really wish you had come in. We could have done something a couple of days ago. And we still have treatments even if you've been having symptoms for a couple of days. So I still want you to come to the hospital.
Okay.
But the sooner that you come in, the better off we tend to be.
Time is brain, y'all. Now, what does stroke recovery look like? And what kind of support do you think helps with like long-term? My mom had aphasia, which means she couldn't get the words out, which came from the stroke. She did a lot of occupational therapy. What else?
So we do physical therapy, we do occupational therapy, we do speech therapy. We work with you on trying to gain as much independence and function back as possible. We also work in stroke recovery to prevent another stroke and looking at what risk factors you may have, such as your blood pressure or irregular heart rhythms or smoking, which is another big risk factor.
Because something caused the stroke.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So stroke recovery is partly also trying to figure out what caused the stroke and then what we can do to prevent it again.
That's interesting. That's amazing. What's an important takeaway to know about stroke treatment that you can give the people?
Stroke treatment is really about getting it quickly and getting it fast. Time is brain, as you said so many times, and I keep repeating because I want everyone to hear that message.
Thank you.
Because we have treatments such as IV clot-busting medications. We have procedures where we can go and actually grab the clot out of the brain, and we are looking at research more and more about patients that are further and further out from that time of onset of the stroke that we can treat. But everything does better the sooner we get closer to the onset of your symptoms.
Absolutely. My mom, her smile was off, and we waited, and we never should have waited because we're like, it went away, and then it came back that night, and that's when we're like, uh-oh. Do you always wear bow ties?
Bow ties are traditionally a neurologist thing, so I'm trying to make bow ties cool again.
You are making them totally cool again. Everyone, human kindness and bow ties is what Common Spirit Health is all about. So visit their website to learn more about the signs of stroke. You can go to mountain.commonspirit.org. Find more interviews. There's information on 9news.com/healthy Colorado. And remember, time is brain, and as Tori says, be pushy, be pushy, be pushy. This Healthy Colorado segment is sponsored by Common Spirit Health. Thank you so much, Doc. Appreciate this. Thank you. Could your child use a little confidence boost this summer? Coming up on Colorado and Company, a local camp that's helping kids come out of their shell. And we went from winter last week to full-on summer this week. So cool off with a nostalgic drink. You guys are gonna love this. It's an ice cream soda with Christy Ross. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying with us on Coco. So next month, a local camp is helping kids feel more comfortable being themselves by building confidence. If I had had this This would have been very helpful to me. So here to tell us how Communication 101 is making a difference is Shelley Thorne and co-founder Kristen Chasey. Hello, you guys.
Hello.
So lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Now, Shelley, for people who haven't heard of Communication 101, what is it and what do you teach kids? Like, what are you helping they learn?
So do you have a couple hours?
Yeah,
and a cup of coffee?
tell me everything.
So really quickly, I grew up with, my parents got divorced, and I felt like there could have been better communication in my family. And then,
Very relatable.
Yes, my whole life, most of my life, my trade has been a sports massage therapist. So I got to hear everybody's problems. And I just realized how many people don't communicate with each other. Married people, kids, like people with their kids. And I was like, this is really a problem. And seeing them being around it all the time, I realized my passion started being communication. And so I do the seminars with women, and I'm trying to do families and career, people's jobs and all of that. So I thought, what, we have to go with our kids because our kids are growing up, and I feel like some of us are who we are. And a lot of times we feel like we're good. We don't need any more help. We don't need counseling. And I feel like kids are the where to go because we can get them to communicate better and grow up doing
Start 'em
that.
young.
So better adults.
Start them young, get them to be, I mean, this is so brilliant of you.
Be kinder.
Kristen, what are some of the biggest, let's say, challenges kids are facing right now? And can I be honest, is it this?
I mean, that is the obvious example.
Right?
The more we have technology, I think the more kids are not getting that face-to-face communication.
Amen.
So they're not knowing how to express themselves emotionally. They're not knowing how to be self-aware.
Yeah.
And they're mostly not having conversations with their peers.
Totally.
Which is really kind of what our focus is getting back to that self-awareness for a kid and that face-to-face conversations.
I also think that I was listening to Esther Perel, and she was saying not having supervised play so that you have to figure out the hierarchy and the community. You have to communicate on that is so important. But some kids are talking and they're just, no one's listening. It's so fascinating.
Like no.
Yeah, right? And I have my phone right here, that says something. So you guys have a camp coming up. What can kids expect? They get off the bus. That's how I came off of camp. I don't know. But yeah, the bus. But what can they expect?
So first of all, it's going to be a super fun camp. It's high energy, dynamic. Kids are going to be rotating through stations. So we have art stations because, you can communicate through pictures. Maybe some kids aren't comfortable with physical activity, but, they can draw or they can write. So there's art station. Some kids can communicate through dance and, your body language. So a station with dance and more theater activities. And then there's the kids like me. I was a college athlete and I communicate through physical activity.
Nice.
So then there'll be a sports and physical activity station.
What did you play?
I played volleyball actually locally at Regis University.
Way!
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, and then the big difference too is we're trying to get kids to show kindness to others. So we have the tokens here, and it is a reward system. So at camp, the first day, kids will get 10 tokens. And as they see others being kind, they will give their tokens away. If someone is kind to them, they give a token to somebody.
You have the most beautiful eyes.
Oh my God, I got a token.
Yes.
I feel good.
It's so great. And then
It's a brilliant system.
Right, and
Really
at the end
smart.
of camp, we're gonna have a rewards bank, a shop. Every
Nice.
kid loves arcade games.
Yeah.
And then they go cash it in for prizes at the end. So
Smart.
you could cash in your tokens for gift cards or toys or Legos. So
You guys are so brilliant. All right, Shelley, businesses can support this camp too. Tell me more about that.
So because we're a nonprofit, my goal is to actually be able to raise enough money through scholarship and to have a scholarship program for parents that have more than one kid that can't afford.
Smart.
And then kids that just can't afford camp, period. And that scholarship money will be used for them to go to camp. And so our camp fees could be very, very, very small.
That's huge.
And then people are like, oh my gosh, this camp provides food. So we would love restaurants and to donate just for lunch, sandwiches or what. We try to keep our numbers low so we can really monitor the kids and navigate with the kids.
Nice.
So there's not so many kids that we're like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? And I think parents really like when there's small camps and they know their kids are getting extra attention.
And you're
it's
giving
more intimate.
Yeah, and this accessibility you're trying to get.
Yeah.
All right, businesses that have done Coco, you hearing this? Go ahead and do this because that's a real mitzvah
to our
for you
website
guys.
and donate.
All right, if you do, last question, you have parents who let's say they have a shy kid.
Yeah.
I'm a theater dance, I would have been out there. What do you suggest for them?
So as I've told you guys before, I love this part because I love to find the kid that's kind of shy.
Yeah.
And what I do is I give them a compliment. You know, I find something on that kid that I really like, whether their hair is really pretty done in braids or they have pretty blue eyes like yourself. And then I just go, wow, you have really pretty eyes and your hair is so cute. And then they start to feel comfortable with me and they're like, oh, she likes me.
Yeah.
And then I find out.
A little bit of confidence.
Yeah, I find out somebody else that might be new at camp or they don't know anyone and they're shy. And then I try to connect them so then they don't feel alone. And that's my biggest thing is just notice those kids that feel like an outcast. Or we don't want anyone feeling alone, an outcast, or different, or any of that. We want them to feel comfortable, and we want everyone to be kind, and that's what we're about. Like, get away bullies, and if there is a bully in your life, let's figure out how to navigate that in a positive way.
Right, and how to communicate, which is great.
Yeah.
This whole idea just brings me to life. I think it's so brilliant, and bravo to you two for doing this. Shelley and Kristen, thank you so much. Communication 101's Spy Kids Camp. It's at June 15th through the 18th. They're giving a special discount to our viewers. Ooh, use the code COCOKINDNESS. It's all one word. Sign up now by going to communication-101.com. You can also use the QR code. It's right on your screen. The deadline for registration is June 1st. This can help your child blossom into someone with confidence and with a great communication style. Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Well, camping, speaking about camping, it's all about hot days, warm nights, and cool, creamy treats. Did I make that weird? This takes you back to a simpler time. Let's get the scoop on how to make old-fashioned ice cream sodas with the Christy Rost.
Hi, I'm Christy Rost, coming to you from my home kitchen. On a hot summer day, there's nothing like an ice cream treat. At the top of my list is a chocolate ice cream soda. I learned how to make authentic ice cream sodas in the small town of Freeport, Illinois, from a soda jerk. Today, I'm going to show you the tricks of the trade. I start with 3 tablespoons of chocolate syrup. There's 1, 2, 3. That could have been a little generous. And 2 tablespoons of milk. And 1 scoop of softened vanilla ice cream. Then stir this up and mash the ice cream so that the mixture becomes really smooth. Once the chocolate syrup, the milk, and the 1 scoop of ice cream are well blended and it's nice and smooth, I add in 1/4 cup of plain seltzer water. Then mix this. And then add 1 scoop of vanilla ice cream right in there. More seltzer water. Go ahead and fill the glass. Save a little room for the toppings. So I top it off with some whipped cream. Oh, gorgeous. A cherry on top, of course. And some sprinkles, just to give it that summertime color. Oh, wow. Need a straw, of course. Nice. And then it's ready to serve. So I put my plate. Need a spoon to get that ice cream. And there you go. When it's hot and steamy outside, relief is as close as your freezer. Celebrate summer with a chocolate ice cream soda.
You can find all of Christy's recipes, including the one for old-fashioned ice cream sodas, on her website, ChristyRost.com. Well, Denver Water has a challenge for everyone. We want to reduce your water usage by 20%. In about 2 minutes, we learn how we can all do our part. All right, it's no surprise that after a very dry and warm winter, we are in a drought. Let's be real. In situations like this, we can all do our part to help save water and reduce our usage. And I'm going to tell you how. Actually, Greg Fisher, the manager of demand planning and efficiency at Denver Water, is going to show us how. He's going to join me and show us some tips. Hi there.
Hi, thanks for having me, Tori.
Thank you for being here. We desperately need you. Greg, break it down for us. What it goes into determining if we're in a drought or not? I spent 10 years in LA and it was like very obvious.
Yes, and I think it's obvious for us
Yeah.
this year. So a lot of it is the snow. Most of the water we use and get comes from the snow.
Is that right?
Yep, and then it runs off into our reservoirs. We save that for water use all year round. So
We had so little.
yeah, it became really obvious to us, and you keep hoping that you're going to get these amazing spring storms that are going to bail you out. Not this year, and it's some of the worst we've ever seen.
Yeah, it was like record breaking. All the
Yes.
skiers were like on dirt, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we are in a stage 1 drought. What
We
does
are.
that mean?
So it's really our first stage of mandatory restrictions.
Okay.
So we're asking people to limit their watering of their lawns. Start with your lawns if you're looking to
That's
save
the number
20%. Yeah, so limiting that to 2 days per week. A lot of people will water 3 days per week or more. So if you cut that back to 2, you're really on the right track for saving water this summer.
Got it. So that's a really good tip. Tell me more about reduce by 20% and what we can do.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do, there are a couple things we're trying to do. We're trying to protect the investments we've all made in our landscapes and our trees and economic vitality. So we're thinking about the long term. If drought persists, this is why we need to save water. So we're trying to keep as much water as we can in our reservoirs this year. So that's why we're asking people to save 20%. We know that if you reduce a little bit, you can keep your lawns alive. We are hopefully not disrupting your lives too much, but you can still save a lot of water. If you think about it, just a few things here and there every day.
They add up.
They really do.
Yeah,
They do.
especially if we all do this. What are some other ways we can cut back? So the lawn we talked about. What about some other ways?
Some very simple things. So do full loads of laundry.
Oh, smart.
Same thing with the dishwasher. The one trick that I always think about for myself is if you can use your faucet 5 minutes fewer per day. We on average use
people
about
run it,
yeah, and think about when you're washing dishes, if you can turn it off while you're washing dishes. It adds up. In fact, if every one of our customers reduced their faucet use by 1 minute per day, that's 2 million gallons per day that we're saving.
Wow.
So it really does add up.
Oh my gosh. And that's so smart about a full dishwasher. So, just running it when it's like one plate or something like that.
Right.
Okay, this is huge. In the event that we do have rain, like let's all do the
Yes.
rain dance, how soon should we water after a storm?
It depends on the conditions, but I think in general, take a day off. So if you get 2 days per week, take one of your days off after it's rained. Let the natural rain do its thing for our lawns, and that's all we're asking. If it's cool for the rest of the week, maybe you could take 2 days off, but it really depends on the conditions that we're seeing.
But at least take 1 day off so
Yes.
that we're saving some water.
Yes.
And this is for all of us to do. A lot of people plant. I was a gardener, perennial cut garden.
Yeah.
It looks so great, but I'm like, oh my gosh, the water I'm using. What can we do? What should we know about for watering our gardens or plants?
The best thing you can do is install a drip irrigation system. I'm actually doing that right now. So just getting the water right where the plants need it so you don't have to spray.
You're doing this.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you can water in vegetable gardens, you can water every day. Particularly with the drip system, you're putting so little water on there. You're saving water, but still keeping a great garden.
Yeah, that's important. New sod.
Yes.
Sounds like a band name. But what do we do with that? Because people have to water that a lot.
We are giving variances. So in a stage 1, you're still allowed to put in new sod.
Okay.
We're really pushing native grasses, really well adapted to Colorado climate and perpetual droughts that we seem to be in. But you can water new seed and sod we will give you an exemption for 21 days so that you can water that every day just so it takes root.
Yeah, okay. This is such vital information. To learn more about watering restrictions or ways to conserve water, I want you to check out denverwater.org/conserve. Thank you for this We all have to do our part, guys. Thank you for your company, Colorado. Portions of today's program were sponsored by the businesses listed on your screen. Tomorrow on Colorado and Company, we head into a galaxy far, far away. Your chance to win tickets to an advanced screening of Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. And remember, everyone you face is encountering an uphill battle you know nothing about. So be patient, be kind, be gentle, and then apply that to yourself. You want to do bye with me? Bye! Bye, guys. Nice job.
Yeah, thanks.
Killed it.